But if you identify with your trauma or your experiences or whatever it is, you will never be healed. Right. I was approached at one point by a doctor, and whether he could do it or not is irrelevant. He approached me and he said, David, I've developed a new technique that goes into your nervous system, into your, whatever, I'm not a doctor, right? And he goes, it will remove your PTSD. It will. It'll completely, it's a transmagnetic something, whatever. I don't know what it is, right? And he said, David, it'll remove your PTSD. And I told him no, as I'm not interested in that. And I told my therapist at the time, and I said, if he removed my PTSD, then who would I be?
Right. It's my identity.
Right.
Yeah.
I had identified with it. Yeah. That was a major issue why I never healed at that time.
Right.
It's because I identified with it. It became who I was. The strongest force in human psychology is the need to be consistent with how you define yourself.
And you brought up this example earlier about how you've reframed the idea of when my wife's attacking me, what I thought was attacking me. Mm-hmm. Now she's really just building me up because she loves me.
Yeah.
And the perception of that, now I'm actually taking in what she's saying. Mm-hmm. I'm taking it in. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually leveling myself up. And to be able to, again, rewrite the book towards that, what's possible?
Mm-hmm. And the thing with that is I love that example because I chose what it meant. I chose it intentionally.
Yes.
I thought, what could it mean? And I literally I do this thing where you just like flip the meaning. That's a strategy that I utilize of like, okay, if it has a negative meaning over here, what's the best possible meaning I can even creatively think of?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even have to be something I believe right now, but what could it mean on the most possible beneficial meaning, period? That she's calling me to a higher version of myself. And if that's true, and I ask myself this, if that's true, then what would it make me feel? Right?
Right.
And if that's how I felt, then if I had this belief, then how would I operate?
That's right.
Right? And then you just execute on that. And if you keep on executing on that over and over again, you will recode your nervous system like I did for myself. Right? So now I literally seek out that feedback from her. I want it. My nervous system wants it. Right?
Well, because it hits the endorphins, it hits all the chemicals.
Yeah, but all the dopamine, all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
but it's this incremental thing. Mm-hmm. We have to put it into motion. We have to think about it. We put it into motion through even saying it out loud. Mm-hmm. This is what I want.
Yep.
And then having an experience with it. Mm-hmm. Right. That's the part that is you need to have multiple experiences with it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then what you're growing, I think you have a belief, and then you have a faith.
Yes.
You have a new faith or a level of faith in that. Mm-hmm. And that faith is the incremental part of freedom, ultimate freedom.
Yes, that's true.
Stepping my way through, having a belief, maybe if I believe I'll never get sick again in my life. This is like, what if I believe that? Mm-hmm. And then over the course of time, I'm not getting sick. My immune system is actually doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. The miracle of what it is.
Yeah. And here's the thing that I actually love that example, because if you were to say to yourself, and you truly believed it, not just like faking it, but if you truly believed I'm never going to get sick again, if you started to feel, let's say there was actually an illness in your body, I'm willing to bet that you wouldn't even label it as illness. Like, interesting, I'm just a little down right now. No problem. I'm going to be good tomorrow. You would relabel everything.
Everything.
Your entire perception of reality would be changed by the belief that you execute on. What if people did that in this culture for what is labeled as depression? What if people did that for anxiety? What if they labeled anxiety as excitement? Mm-hmm. It's the same experience in the body, right? Excitement and anxiety, same thing. It's what you label it as. So if you never, I have a coach that tells me that he literally will not allow himself to say the word anxiety or depression, right? He will say excitement. Right? Anytime he feels anxious, he'll go, I am feeling really excited right now. I am just so pumped. I'm so excited. His entire reality has changed because he will not allow himself to say it or think it.
Yeah.
Right? He's incredibly disciplined. And when he's made that change in his body, again, his entire reality has changed.
Yeah.
I'm not nervous. I'm excited. What an opportunity right now. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I mean, if the veteran community or just our culture in general were to deploy these kinds of strategies, I mean, did you know that 42 million Americans are on antidepressants?
I did not.
Did you know that? I
No,
mean, that is
yeah.
crazy.
It's a big industry, though. I mean, come on. Like,
Yeah.
we don't want to shut down a whole industry.
Yeah, but imagine if every single one of those people that has been told that this is the way they are now,
Yep.
that they can't change,
Yeah.
that they have to take this medication, now they're relying on it, they're addicted to it, or whatever. What if every single one of those people retrain themselves to operate in these new ways?
Yeah.
It would reshape our entire culture. It would reshape this entire country.
Well, and what you're really kind of speaking to is this, the art of almost manifestation, this new age movement. Oh, you can manifest something. You have to feel what it feels like to be a millionaire. And then, then think the thoughts of being a millionaire. And I'm like, what does it feel? I've never been a millionaire. What does it feel like? But you know what I was feeling at that moment? I know what it feels like to be anxious. I know what it feels like to be depressed. And then I'm thinking depressed thoughts or anxious thoughts. And the difference between I'm excited versus I'm really anxious. This is really making me nervous. It changes it. You, by your thoughts alone, can change the whole dynamic.
Oh, absolutely. It's about how you label it. Your words, you had said this earlier, which I love this. Your words can basically cast a spell on you.
Yeah.
The words that you use.
Yes.
Am I nervous? Am I anxious? Am I afraid? Am I fearful? If this is just who I am, right? Or am I excited and I'm just so pumped about the opportunity to take the advantage of this opportunity? Your words will control your reality.
Yeah. And so if I'm having anxious feelings and now thoughts of anxiousness, my whole world outside of me is going to give me what?
Yeah.
Anxiousness.
Yes.
I'm going to be anxious because I'm making it happen.
Yeah, you're creating it for yourself.
I'm creating it for myself. And it's funny, I say, well, I may not be a drunk anymore, but I'm not emotionally sober. And now I have to find something else to distract myself.
Interesting.
So I really believe this idea of everything you're speaking to, and I'd love to get into your story of how, but everything you're speaking to leads up to something bigger.
Absolutely.
For all of us. And so I really appreciate you being here and trusting in this, right? And I always say that the warrior that you are and I am and a lot of others are is forged in fire. So we're forged in fire. And through that forging, we become resilient. We become just internally very strong.
Yeah. Resilience is the key.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
I talk to guys and they, I talked to one guy and he went through intense combat. Intense combat, combat that may have, may break others and that kind of thing, but he was unfazed. He truly was unfazed. And he learned a skill when he was a teenager.
Right.
Of focusing. He trained himself to focus on like temperature. He would go outside, right? I know there's a little bit of a tangent, but bear with me here, right?
Yeah.
So he would go outside and he was in like Minnesota or something, right? Very cold. Like you wouldn't really walk around without a shirt on, but he would do that and he would focus on the temperature leaving his skin. And by focusing on the temperature leaving his skin, he could literally make himself feel warm.
Right.
Okay. So he basically was able to rewire his system purely on his focus.
Yeah.
And so I believe, and this is something I'm studying right now, is this resilience factor based on focus and perception and all these kinds of things can literally prevent your system from being traumatized.
Yes.
Because he went through intense combat and he was not traumatized. He is unaffected. It is amazing, right? Versus other people because they focus on the loss or they focus on this and they've created all these meetings. They experience intense emotional trauma. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think what you said is 100% on point. This is such a key factor for how our systems experience our reality, our world, whether it's combat, Iraq, Afghanistan, anywhere else in the world, or even your own living room, your bedroom, you're with your wife, your kids, how you experience your reality. The importance of this cannot be understated.
Yeah. So your warrior journey, right? That forging, what was that like for you?
It was really interesting. I've been asked that a lot. It was, the warrior journey for me, it was really a learning process, right? Because when I got back from Iraq and I didn't even realize that I was traumatized. I didn't realize that I had PTSD. I thought this was just part of what it meant to be a veteran.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I had guns in every room of my house. I would patrol outside of my house with a loaded 40 caliber pistol. I had plans on every single area of my home of how to defend my home, right? But I wasn't traumatized. I didn't have PTSD. But this is just what it meant to be a veteran, right? So that was the beginning, I would say, of that kind of journey, right? Of going through that. Right. I mean, I was, I'm sure you're aware of 29 Palms. I was trained there, 3rd Battalion, 4th Marines. And we were trained for one purpose, and that was to go into Iraq and win, period. Yeah. Okay. So we were trained with that physical and kind of mental resilience, but they never trained us on the emotional side. They didn't train us what to do when you got back.
Right.
Right. They literally just cut us loose. Yeah. You know, more Marines from my unit. And again, I was in Iraq 20 years ago. Yeah. 20 years ago. More Marines from my unit have died from suicide than the actual battle, than the combat. It is every year. Every single year, more Marines from my unit are committing suicide. Why is that? Yeah. Why is this? Because no one has trained us on what to do. Right. And this is really kind of how my journey unfolded. You know, I had a kind of a similar story in terms of the anxiety and the depression, and I battled suicide and intense nightmares, flashbacks. I had to sleep on the floor because I didn't want to hurt my wife. Right. Right. And I battled PTSD for over 15 years. 15 years. Right. And it came to the point, and I was in therapy. I was in and out of the hospital twice. The VA gave me, I don't even remember how many bottles of pills. Yeah. Right. All this medication, which didn't make it put me in a stupor. Yeah. You know what I mean? It numbed everything about me, right? And so I had a detox from the medication that I was given, right? And so it came to a point after being in therapy for about 5 years, nothing was working. I got a little bit better, but it came to a point where in 2023, I remember the day when I decided either something changes or I'm done. I am not going to continue to live like this. And this is what led to the creation of the Mission Freedom System that I now teach veterans across the country, right? The Mission Freedom System of removing and annihilating the PTSD, no longer coping with it, no more managing it, literally rewiring the nervous system, as we've chatted about, to remove the PTSD and replace it with something so empowering, so much grace and gratitude and love and direction and certainty. That's where we're replacing what used to make all these kind of negative experiences. That's kind of my journey to like today. Yeah.
Were you at your very bottom? Were you all the way down?
I was. It was really my darkest moment. But you know what's interesting? I love that you actually brought that up, because when I was still like getting out of the experience or whatever, and I was kind of rounding it out and kind of completing it, and I was like, okay, I feel like I'm totally healed, right? I don't have to cope with it anymore. You know, I can go into crowded rooms and it doesn't faze me. You know, I can, all those things, right? Someone could be standing right behind me. It doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? Like it literally has been removed from my system. All the snipers, all the nightmares, gone, right? And I thought to myself, this was the worst part of my life. Everything that I just went through was my darkest day, right? And I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I'm sure you've heard that kind of phrase before. And actually, you know what? I now realize, and now what I believe now is this was the most important period of my life. This was a gift. It was a gift from God. It was a gift from, whatever you believe. I'm a man of faith, and I believe that God gave this to me. It was the greatest gift that I could have ever received in my life.
Very powerful atonement for all of it.
Yeah.
And acceptance of what it is. And I think, our fathers, right, especially our dads, they are the ones usually that hurt us, or we want to love, that we want them to love us. Yeah. Yeah. And to come to this conclusion in all this, like, Dad, forgive me for making you wrong, for being human. Yeah. Because you were just doing the best you could with what you knew. You weren't loved either, or something happened to you. But the warrior that you helped me become, the warrior spirit that I have in me, I can now just be completely free of it.
Yeah.
Free of it. And thank you for playing your part.
Yeah.
I love you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that gratitude is such a powerful weapon.
Yeah.
People don't understand the value and the importance and value of gratitude. Because when I relabeled my entire experience as the greatest possible gift that I've ever received in my life,
Right.
my entire reality changed. My entire existence changed. And in fact, a Marine came up to me the other day and he said, David, don't take this the wrong way, but I'm really glad what happened to you happened. I was like, really? That's interesting. Why do you say that? He's like, think about it. If what happened to you didn't happen, you wouldn't be doing what you are
That's
now.
right. That's right.
Right? Kind of reshapes everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I always ask fellow warriors that I do peer support work, and it's, you know, you defended the very freedoms that we have for this country, and are you really free yourself? And it's like, yeah, I'm free. Are you really free? Or are you reactive to the world around you?
Mm-hmm.
Does the world have you? And I mean, there's different levels of freedom, right? But the more we do this work of rewriting and reconfiguring what it is, the prison that I built, the prison that I put around me was done by me, right? I can start to dismantle piece by piece and have a whole new belief system.
Absolutely. You know, that reminds me of a very powerful example of such an important critical concept of identity. Okay, I know you've done a lot of work here yourself, but if you identify with your trauma or your experiences or whatever it is, you will never be healed. Right? I was approached at one point by a doctor, and whether he could do it or not is irrelevant. He approached me and he said, David, I've developed a new technique that goes into your nervous system, into your, whatever, I'm not a doctor, right? And he goes, it will remove your PTSD. It will. It'll completely, it's a transmagnetic something, whatever. I don't know what it is, right? And he said, David, it'll remove your PTSD. And I told him no, as I'm not interested in that. And I told my therapist at the time, and I said, if he removed my PTSD, then who would I be?
Right. It's my identity.
Right.
Yeah.
I had identified with it. Yeah. That was a major issue why I never healed at that time.
Right.
It's because I identified with it. It became who I was. The strongest force in human psychology is the need to be consistent with how you define yourself.
That's right.
Period.
Well, I mean, I think that through labels alone, we talked about putting spells on ourselves with words, spelling, is this very fact that I'm the one that's creating it through my words.
Yes. Yeah, and how you define yourself.
And how I define myself.
Yeah.
It's I'm the one that's creating it. And to come to that conclusion, it's like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you define yourself as the disabled veteran?
Right. So that's the problem.
Yeah.
We come out, now we're disabled. 100% permanent disabled, PTS, all these labels.
Yeah, permanent.
Permanent.
It's in the label. It's in the name.
It's a label. It's in the name. We are disabling our veterans with labels alone. And not to disparage these nonprofits, Disabled American Veterans, great organization, but disabled American.
Yep.
Disabled.
Yep.
And I just, now we have plates that have handicap on it.
Park in the handicap spot. You're disabled.
Yeah, you're disabled.
No wonder there's so much loss in this country from the veteran community.
Yeah.
Look at what is being being believed.
And if I am healed and I'm saved from this, then I lose my benefits.
So now you're financially motivated and incentivized to stay exactly how you are.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is just who I am, guy. Yeah. This is just who I am. I can't change who I am. Are you saying that I can be anything different? This is who I am.
Right.
Those statements will keep you locked in this prison forever that you've created.
That's right.
Yeah. That is being promoted by the labels, by our society.
So I appreciate the fact that you are bringing awareness to this. We need to be talking about this. And some people will be like, well, like you were telling me a story, like people want to break my legs because I'm telling them they don't really have PTS.
Yeah. Oh, if I went in a room full of veterans, that would be an interesting conversation. If I went in front of a room full of veterans that were conditioned by the medical industry and the psychiatric industry and all these other things, and I said, guys, you can choose to be healed whenever you want. You can choose to be free from PTSD whenever you want. The reaction I would anticipate at this point would be a very negative reaction.
Yeah.
Right. You're telling me I can just snap my fingers and be free. Are you kidding me?
You can't.
Who are you, David? Right.
But it's that continued work, right? Coming to an awareness and then starting from the ground up. It's like, okay, I want to really be free. I have to take down the scaffolding or the bars.
Right.
I got to do the work. I got to make the changes. I got to start rewiring my thinking.
Yep.
Thinking alone is where it starts. And then I have to put that new thinking into action. And then action produces some visceral experience with it, because this is what we are in, is we're in an experience.
Yep.
And the experience gives us the visceral feeling. Now we start to rewire ourselves towards this new way of being.
Yeah. And I was actually, I'm going to give you a great example for why people believe that PTS is permanent. Okay. People think PTS is permanent commonly. This is a very common, they say in different ways, but it's the same thing. It's like, well, PTS is permanent because a Vietnam veteran will get someone behind him, X amount of years after he was in Vietnam, and he'll have the same response he did decades before.
Right.
Therefore, David, PTS is permanent. I was like, well, let me challenge this notion for you. Okay. Let me teach you a little bit about why that is the case. And then you'll actually understand the truth. Your nervous system does not forget. If it learns something which was significant enough, and if it learns something that was important enough to it, it will not forget. Okay. Because it's basically plugged that in. It's a computer. You plug into the computer, a software, or whatever. I don't care if it's been 10, 20, 30, 50 years, as long as the computer is working, you plug in that program, it will generate the same response.
Right.
Because it's been put into the system.
That's right.
It's the same thing with our nervous system.
Yeah.
Right. So, and the way PTS is created is from a generalization. You have an experience. Let's say, and let's go to more OIF type stuff. A bomb exploded in the road, right? Bomb, an IED, right? IED blows up. And then someone was hurt. And now the veteran or the military member or whatever learns that, well, the bomb was in the hole. Now the hole is dangerous. So now I think all holes are dangerous, right? Because my system is associated with it. And not only that, but because holes are dangerous, now cars are dangerous. Now I get anxiety anytime I go into a car, right? And if I see a hole 20 years later, I will have the same reaction.
Right.
It's not because PTS is permanent, it's because your system does not forget.
That's right.
Your system doesn't forget. But if you broke that connection, isolate that over here, rewire this, now you'll break that reaction, that response. So it has nothing to do with whether or not PTS is permanent. Is the fact that someone who says that doesn't understand the nervous system.
Right.
And that's, I think, a huge priority. And once you understand this, you're like, oh, okay. It's just a conditioned response. Right. That's all it is. Yeah.
How did you come about this method?
Well, I invested a lot of time in learning from everyone I possibly could. Everyone from Tony Robbins to, all the way down, right? Really studying the nervous system intensely. I worked in a neuroscience lab. I studied psychology, the human physiology, understanding the wiring in our bodies and this kind of stuff extensively. And then I spent years learning from anyone that I could that was, not only trauma, but just how the system and the human existence is, right? Understanding the human mind, right? When you put all these things together, this is what forms. It's actually a very simple, relatively understanding. You don't need to learn all the neurochemicals and all that stuff. It's fun. I enjoy it, right? But when you put all these pieces together, it's wow. Okay, now I understand the truth about what a traumatic event will do to a human. And once you understand that, then you can break it down into simple components and then understand. Okay, well, to prevent that response and actually put a new response in, it requires conditioning. It requires these things. You know what I mean? And so that was the basis of Mission Freedom. Is if you deploy these strategies, and I kind of packaged them up and I took them from all over the place, right? And I created this system. You deploy this, PTS is removed, right? And you can it's not only just, so I don't stop there. I don't stop at let's remove anxiety and replace it with excitement. I want to create a totally new experience, right? What if instead of creating, like for example, fireworks, right? I did this for myself. I do this with other guys. Fireworks represents gunshots for most veterans, or artillery, or something like that. The experience is kind of the same. Well, what if you rewired it to mean joy and excitement and connection with your family? You could do it. I've done it. I help other people do it, right? So instead of just killing the negative response, which you could do that. And then fireworks is basically neutral. It doesn't really mean anything to you. What if every time you heard a firework, you literally felt excitement and joy, happiness, connection, because you reconnected it? You see what I'm saying? So you can do this with anything, you know? It doesn't have to be like PTS, right? So that's the ultimate result is that we're after, is to replace pain with power.
Right.
That's when it gets really fun.
Yeah. It's really this description of, I use this analogy at times, is this experience is your movie. And in this movie, you're the director, you're the producer,
I love that.
You're the main actor, you're all the lights, you're all of it. It's your movie. You even wrote the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can write the next chapter.
Right? And
I can decide.
And now through this analogy, it's like, wait a minute. I'm writing scenes into my movie to try to help me grow. Everything that I'm putting in is for me to become unlocked. And if I believe that to be true, now I'm watching my movie with awareness. Why? Because I already wrote it to help me become unlocked. And that the power of that belief.
Yeah.
Wait, this is all me. I get to write. If I'm really aware of what's happening, if I'm really listening to the essence of what someone's saying, instead of having my own beliefs of what I think it is through an old experience, now I start to really see it from a different lens.
Absolutely.
I'm not being attacked anymore.
I love this. So I take I drive my kids to school every day. And when we're driving to school, we ask ourselves, how am I going to make today a great day? It's a very simple question, but it's actually pretty profound. And I'm teaching them this. They just don't know it, but I'm teaching this, like, decide in advance the outcome.
Right.
Decide in advance. Right? For the veteran community, it could be going to a dinner or a gala or a movie or a social event or whatever. And instead of thinking to myself, I do not like this. This is nervous. I'm feeling nervous and all this other stuff. What if you declared in advance your outcome? What if you declared victory at the beginning of your day? I don't even care what happens today. I win. I'm victorious every single day, no matter what happens. When you look at it that way, the situation, what actually occurs, is irrelevant. Because I decide the meaning, and I've decided in advance.
In advance,
right?
yeah.
Decided in advance.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever happens, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because I'm a true warrior.
Yeah.
And because I'm a true warrior, I've decided how I will experience it in advance. That there can really shape your life.
So getting back to that label, I'm disabled. Maybe, just maybe, instead of accepting the label of disabled, that I am a warrior. The warrior spirit comes back online. I believe that everything I went through, I'm alive right now because of the warrior spirit that I have. And I now realize that because of the fact that I believed I wasn't free, I can now reshift all that into total freedom as a warrior. And the power, right, is us coming to that freedom, because really all you want and I want and a lot of us want that have gained a certain level of freedom in this is for every single warrior behind us to feel the same way.
Yes.
That's it. That act of service, the willingness to put it out there and write a book or to even talk about it.
Yeah.
That act of service. Brother, I see you. I love you and I got you. Me too. I was there. I was there. And extending that hand, because it's almost this analogy is I'm climbing up this peak, and every turn, I cross paths with others that are doing the similar work. And now because of my openness, I'm like, wow, I didn't think about it like that. I didn't think about it in that way. It just unlocks, and now we're interweaving our paths a little bit higher, and then we're 3 or 4. But it's time for us to go back down, almost into that valley, in the smoggy valley. We don't realize it's smoggy, but when you're up above it, you can see it.
Yeah. I love the really the connection, the brotherhood that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically like, I know you're doing a lot of work with the VFW, right? I think that's a huge reason why the VFW exists, right? It's that brotherhood. It's that connection.
Yeah.
It's us coming together as a veteran or veteran community, you know what I mean? For people that aren't veterans, but it's that veteran community that are there for each other.
That's right.
If we were really leverage that the way it really could be, I mean, it would be totally different.
That was the original
experience.
energy.
Yeah.
100% the original energy of why the VFW started. Spanish-American War, the underserved. The government wasn't supporting us, and these guys were throttled. They came back into their little community, and I believe it probably to be the spouses that are like, it's not two dudes being like, oh, you're broken, I'm broken, let's hug it out. And no, it's the spouses doing what they do best. They're trying to bring us home, right? So they brought us all together, and this was what they were doing for each other. They were making sure they were taken care of. Authentic connection. In the SEAL teams, I'll die for you, I will die. And we have a strong bond. Marine Corps, same thing, strong bond, die for each other.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm not going to share and expose any of my secrets.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to open myself because I have a top secret clearance and all the things. And I want your love, right? Because that's why I want I want your acceptance and your love, and I don't want to be casted out of the tribe.
Right. Yeah.
So we're bonded, but the real opening or the real healing should come. And yes, the Marine Corps, the Navy, none of it. They don't teach us emotionally how to deal with this stuff. And quite frankly, I wouldn't want to feel doing the stuff that we're asked to do. I'm not really going to feel that. I don't want to feel that. I almost have to be protected from that. I think it's important to realize that bond and everything else is a really important factor for us to go over there. But you don't fully have your life. You're almost a machine now. And if we're going to send our men and women in that capacity, like, what are we going to do to give them their lives back instead of disabling them and just shelling money? The money's great. Hey, financially great. I deserve the money. I earned the money that I get because I laid it all out there. So did you, and so did a lot of us.
Right.
But we're not disabled,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a crying shame, right? It just breaks my heart,
Right.
that we're putting labels like us on ourselves. We are warriors. We are warriors. Let's bring the warrior spirit back online. And I do believe the VFW can be that place. To qualify, you have to be a combat veteran. We are warriors. We lead the front on this freedom, and we do it in community and connection.
Right.
We start to open up and realize our superpower is to let go of this and to grieve it, to go back to the little guy where he didn't have a safe house and he had to put the armor on. He was forged in fire. He had to put the armor on. But thank you for the experience, because I wouldn't have been able to become that warrior if it wasn't for the experience.
Right.
And we need warriors more than ever now. We need the warrior spirit, because our country, the way it's going, the division and everything else, there's no freedom in that. I pick one side or the other. I am not free. I've blocked out 50% of the other half. And it's like that fear. They want us to be stuck in this fear, because if we were all free, it changes the dynamic of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for everyone listening, they may love the concept of the warrior, right? They may love it, but they go, I've heard this before. It's like, well, David, how do I access this? How do I access this on at will?
At will.
Right? At will. You'd access your war, because everyone has it, right? And especially veterans, right? Veterans have been trained.
Yeah.
You were trained for years or decades, depending how long you're in the service, and depending on your job, obviously. But for those combat veterans, Navy SEALs, Marine Corps infantry, you have a warrior. The issue right now that I see with the guys that I help is that they don't know how to access him.
Right.
So there's three There's basically 3 steps to access your warrior at will, whenever you want. Not that you're going to live in that way all the time, because you might get a little worn out, right? To always be kind of battling and that kind of stuff. But when you need to access your warrior, there's 3 steps to bring it in. The first step is physiology. Okay. You need to put yourself in the physical stance or the position of the warrior, right? From your breath pattern to how you hold your feet, your hands, your tension, your focus, all those things, right? Your body has a programmed physiology for the warrior, right? And when you step into that physiology from your feet all the way down your head, how's your chin, that kind of thing, then you will bring out the warrior very, very easily. An example, I'm going to give you an example. If I were to ask you, what does a depressed person look like? Without even describing it further, you and I would come up with the same thing, right? Shallow breathing, their head is down, shoulders rolled forward. That is a recipe for depression. And in fact, if you were to do that physically, you would actually start to feel depressed because your body knows it. It's been trained. So the warrior is the same thing. Now, once you got the physiology locked in, then it's the language, as you and I have talked about at length. You need to start to speak like your warrior. This is easy. I'm just getting started. I love this. I can do this all day. I'm just getting started. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. I love this, right? This is everything to me. I am the warrior, right? Use the language. That's the second step. The third part is the focus. What are you focusing on, right? Are you focusing on the challenge, the opportunity for victory? Or are you focusing on, oh, this is such a problem, right? That kind of thing. When you use these 3 steps, and I would actually argue the 4th step is then label the warrior. What do you actually call this version of yourself? You can call it the warrior. You can call it whatever you want, right? You can call it Leonidas. You could call Maximus. I mean, whatever it is. And when you label it, now you can bring him out or her whenever you so choose. So for everyone listening, when they're like, I have a warrior, great. This is how you access it. You can access it anytime, anywhere, no matter what you're going through. So it's a powerful strategy.
This is great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for bringing me here. I really appreciate you and everything that you're doing for the community.
I mean, I think that we need to make a big change here. I think culturally, we've drifted as combat veterans of the VFW. We've drifted away from our center. And it's
time to bring it back.
It breaks my heart, right? Because we have 6,000 of these buildings, maybe more, across the whole world, and we're on a decline, and we're not pulling in the younger generation veteran. So I think there's a big opportunity for us to ask them, what do you want? And I think the discussion today about achieving this freedom, this isn't done alone. I can't do this alone. I surround myself with other men and women that are on this path, because it's easy to sit up here and talk a big game about it, but it's a whole nother ball of wax to actually implement it and be that person. What still has me? What am I not free of? And I have to work with other warriors that are proud to be warriors, right? That are trying to do the same thing. We got to do this together. So this is one of many programs that we can bring in as service. Because I really believe that I can be free.
Not only will it change all of California, it'll change our country. It'll change the world. Right. So this is not just a limited mission to help our veterans. Obviously, you and I both have a heart for that. But this ripple effect will be throughout this entire world. Right. I've been contacted by military and non-military from the UK, Australia, Canada. I mean, all over the place. Right. And people just connect so strongly with this message of life doesn't have to be this way. You've been told that this is how you are now. It is not true. You can choose. You decide how best to accomplish this, and then put it into your system. So let's start with California. Let's start with the veteran community. The entire human existence will be changed by this kind of message.
Well, I've gotten to know you for a little bit now, obviously in this and just through talks. But when I'm California commander, I'll have you on the team, man.
Let's do it.
Let's
do it. We're just getting started.
That's right. Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right.